Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right. All right, so in this live stream, we are going to go over, I don't know. Let's go, I don't know. Let me just see what we're going to go over today. Game animation sample. There we go. So we're going to continue, I guess, the pickup system logic, and we're going to also fix the bugs, the overlay layer of the character. All right. So one thing, one issue that I found with the character is that when you pick up the weapon or when you are in the aiming state, as you can see, the spine of the character, I mean the arm, the right arm, is not really correct. As you can see right there, we have a bone distortion. And the reason why is because I actually spent a lot of time trying to figure out what was happening. And this node was off. So basically the layering spine, if you take a look at the ALS, if you understand about the layer curve values, if you pick up the pistol 1H, one arm, and get the, okay, let's try to get the debug view, press V. So you can press V once and then show character info by pressing I on the keyboard. So as you can see, when you stop aiming, as you can see the layer, the curve values, they change depending on which pose the character is at. So they're going to change depending on the pose and the animation you're using. So if you aim, as you can see, they change. And if you just like notice, you can notice that the spine, let me see which one that is. If you notice that the layering spine is 1, so as you can see here, the layering spine is 1. And that value has to be added to the animation itself, which is the pistol pose 1H, this animation right here. So you need to have the layering spine value set to 1 in here, so that we don't cause any bone distortion, right? So what was missing here is that the two-way blend was off, and it basically reads that curve called layering spine, and it's going to decide either if it goes to A or B. So it's going to switch. It can also be in the middle term, like one way and the other. It can have like a nice blend between the two. But the thing here is that I've added a layering spine float value in here, which is not the correct way to do it, because there is no, if you go to the overlay states, if you go to the update layer values, the function, we don't have that value in here called layering spine. Right? So if you search for find references, there is no set function, function in here. So there is only get. And what this does is that if you get the two-way blend and directly type in here, it's going to automatically read without you having to promote it to a variable first and then plug that into directly in there. So you just type the name of the curve that you want to read and it just works. So I'm just going to delete this and I'm going to plug that in there. And when I press play, as you can see, when I press Q now, as you can see, it's now fixed. Now it's a little bit weird, like the arm is a little bit forward. I don't know if that's normal. If you go back to the weapon GASP plus ALS, which is already done, you can see that the pistol 1H is also weird. Let me go back to the ALS to see if it's weird as well. So if we uncrouch, let me just press play again. Yeah, on the ALS it's more normal. It's less glitchy. Because I think the spine as well, it rotates to match the pose of the character holding the pistol. So it makes more sense. Now if you go back to the ALS, game animations, to the game animation sample, as you can see, the arm's a little bit over, like too much to the left. Now you can fix this by going into the characters, to the character's arm, to the animation itself, and add the additive layer tracks. That's going to serve to fix the arm. So as you can notice here, the arm is a little bit too much forward. I don't know if that's normal, but if you have an animation that you can replace this one, it's going to be great. It's going to be better, I think. If you type, let me see, this is the Clavicle R. Maybe the Clavicle R is a little bit too much. There, let me just show the character, bones, and show our hierarchy. So if you try to just rotate it a little bit and tweak it like this and like that, let me just switch the transform gizmo to here so that I can do this. So I guess this makes more sense. I think this is a lot better. We don't have that much of bone distortion. I don't know why it happens in the GASP system, probably because of the retargeting process of doing the animations, of retargeting the animations. So now when I pick up the weapon, is it still like that because I didn't set up the key? So I'm just going to set the key. And as this is just one single frame animation, we're not gonna have any issues. So let's try that right now. Let me just see if that's gonna fix. Yeah, that's only gonna fix the idle pose, as you can see right there. But it's a lot better. If you start walking, of course, it's going to get the other animation. We're gonna have to set up the additive layers for the other animations when the character is also moving. But as you can see, it's a lot better. It's not when you aim down. So that's one way to fix that animation. Maybe if you want to, you can just do this. And just make sure that's in place. As you can see, if you move it too much, it's not gonna look good. So you just gotta learn how to tweak it. And just be sure that you select the first frame before you can actually do something. because that's going to cause not so good effects. So as you can see, that's a lot. I think that's a lot better, and you can also apply that to the other animations. So you can get this is the aim idle and this is the aim move. You can just like copy and paste the additive layer tracks. So just copy them and paste that in there. So click on here on the weapon R and press Ctrl V. So that's going to apply the same changes, I suppose. That didn't do anything. I don't know why, but yeah, I think I did. I think that did that. Yeah, I don't know. Like sometimes I think this character, it shows better like how the bone distortion. I think that on this character, it's skeletal mesh. I think it shows a lot more. It's a lot more clear that the character has the bone distortion. But if you pick up the character that looks like more of a human, maybe that's not gonna happen. Let me just see if I can switch to a human, more human-like, and get the weapon. Yeah, as you can see, the character is a little bit like the right shoulder is a little bit dislocated to the right. I don't know if that's normal. So like each character has their own way of tweaking the bones and the animations. Can you give me hello Satoru? I'm an old subscriber. Can you give me free subscriptions for your template? What template are you talking about? Template. So so yeah, it's just a matter of tweaking the bones to adjust, and the real purpose is that you don't have any bone distortion that's gonna appear. All right, so I guess I'm gonna just leave it as it is right there. I don't think more improvements need to be made in here. We're going to just follow with this character, this skeletal mesh, and let's go for the explanations of the last systems that we were trying to implement. So here we have the F key, which triggers basically a check for picking up a weapon, right? So let me just see if I can. I'm going to put this in a separate graph. So I'm just going to cut this and get this to a separate graph. So you can add a separate graph. You can have like multiple graphs. And to add a new graph, you just click on the plus sign in here. So you can have multiple graphs, and this is just a way to get things a little bit more organized, and it's much better. So the debugging graph is, we have the debugging graph, the overlay state switcher, which we're not using right now, and the new event graph. So you can rename this graph to be like weapon pickup logic, something like that, whatever makes sense to you. And here we're going to check, we're going to press the F key to pick up a weapon. So pickup logic, let's say that. So here, this is the can pick up weapon system, the check, and can pick up weapon. Can pick up weapon. Has pistol. Character has pistol. So if the character can pick up the weapon, and if the character has already the pistol, but you need to check if the character has the pistol equipped or he has the pistol holstered. Has pistol on hand. Yeah, we're gonna have to create 2 variables in here. Because if the character has already has the pistol, then he cannot be able to pick another pistol. We're gonna have to try to. We're gonna have to figure out a way to do this. Yeah, so there are. I think there are a lot of ways to do this. Let's say, okay, so, yeah, we're gonna have to follow a structure that if the character already has a pistol, he cannot pick up the same pistol type if he finds, like it is in The Last of Us. Let me see. Yeah, so we're going to follow the same as it is in The Last of Us. In The Last of Us game, we have, let me see if I can pull up a video. The Last of Us 2. As you can see right here, if she already has the pistol in the game, in the story mode, if she already has the pistol, she's not going to be able to find the same pistol in the game. So as you can see here, she has like 2 different pistols. One is a revolver, and the other one is a pistol, normal pistol, maybe a Glock, I don't know. And here on the back, she has a hammer and the other type of weapons, but they are not the same type of weapon. So basically, the character cannot be able to hold like different types of weapons. So yeah. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to call this weapon like has pistol 1H. So if the character already have the pistol, just going to print a string saying already have pistol, or already have the same pistol. I think this variable is always going to be true because I haven't really set a rule for this when this is going to be true or false. And by the way, the project files are going to be in the description down below in the comments. It's going to be pinned so that you can download the projects that I'm going to be uploading on Mega. So you can have access to this project here. Now here I have the BoxTrace for objects for identifying the weapon. So we're going to type for the weapon. Now, of course, in the future, we're going to have different types of weapons. So we're going to expand the system to accept multiple types of weapons. And we need to refine this later. So it's going to be a lot better in the future. So let's check what we have right now. So let's press on play and let's just drag it over right now. And right now, as you can see, we can pick up the weapon. If it is in the box range, you can pick up the weapon. But as soon as you pick up the weapon, as you can see, if you aim, right now the character does not have the, I don't know why the legs were glitching a little bit, maybe. I'm not sure. Oh, I guess it's, yeah. I don't know if this is a bug, like when you move like this. I don't know if this is a bug from the motion matching, where the character kind of snaps a little bit. So as soon as you aim, the character cannot like do this right now automatically, right? I have to press the letter Q for the character to be able to change its state to the weapon system. So I'm gonna have to find the debugging graph, which is this one right here. So we have the overlay state enumerator. And this enumerator, you can find it in here in the content folder, overlay layer. Let me see, overlay layer, overlay enumerator. And let me just close this one right here. Where's the overlay? Oh, right here. So here I have different types of poses that you can add if you want to. Right now we're just going to add the pistol 1H, and you can basically find this overlay state in here. And if you change that variable, which is this one, if you set it to be pistol 1H, then the character's pose is going to change it to the pistol 1H. Now, of course, that's going to depend if we have the overlay state set up in here. So we have the overlay layer, and at the moment for the overlay state, we only have the pistol 1H set up. I don't know which one is going to be the next one. The next overlay system they're going to add. Maybe the torch, because I want to see like how the character is going to be able to pick up different types of objects, and it's going to be great. I think the most complex, I think the most a little bit more tricky to be adding is the bow overlay system, because it requires a little bit of tweaking and additional nodes in order to make that bow system, and the result is pretty awesome. The result is something close to this one right here, where if you aim down, as you can see, the bow, the character is going to put the bow on the horizontal. If you aim up or in the middle, the bow is going to be on the vertical, and that looks very nice. But firstly, we're gonna have to decide. We're gonna have to. Yeah, let's just copy and cut this. I think that's the perfect time to change and put that to be automatic. So we're just going to go to the weapon pickup logic. We're going to paste that in here. And of course, we're gonna have to make the code for detaching the weapon and dropping the weapon, or equipping the weapon in the holster, if that makes sense. So here we're going to set the pistol 1H state. Let me just see. So this is the pickup weapon event. I don't know where to add this. Maybe in here. Let me just see if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so you should set the enumerator. Okay, let me just set the toggle the pulse watch. This bone is kind of annoying me. Where is this? It's in the. So do you see this blue bone showing? I want to disable that because I'm not debugging anymore. So we need to go to the layer blending graph and toggle the pulse watch off, so that when you play, it doesn't appear. There we go. And now I want to also disable that BoxTrace visibility. But first, I want to enable to be further away from the character, a little bit further. Let me just set the half size of the x-axis to be 70. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Let me just set it to be 50. Okay, 50 works, but still cannot reach the weapon. Yeah, but that's good. So I'm just going to set the draw debug type to none, and that's it. I think we just finalized the BoxTrace for objects settings in here. What's up, Elias? Ali? This is good. Are you in the team? Are you in a team? Not yet. Right now we just right now I'm not in the team yet. So all my free time is like delivering content on YouTube and Patreon projects. That's not good. Generic. So here you're going to make sure that the weapon is detected. So if something hits on the box collision trace, if something hits, then we're going to make sure that the weapon is detected. And of course, we're going to check that later. So the weapon detected, if the weapon is detected, I think this branch is going to make more sense to be in here because we can check it right away. So here we're going to make sure that we save the generic object reference. generic object reference of the weapon. And here you're going to save the weapon location for further calculations. How can I explain this calculation here? Save the So this calculation here is just for calculating like how the hand is going to reach, like which animation should play in the blunt space for depending like which position the weapon is actually in the world. So it's just going to automatically like select a perfect animation for the character. Oh, no, we see a bug there. Let me just see what it is. Oh, okay. So if I spam the button with, yeah, if I think if I spam the button, the character is going to cancel the animation. So we need to prevent that. Elias said you can make a team. I know that's hard, but you're amazing on Ranging. Oh, thank you very much. You can make a team. Yeah, I can make a team, but I think Unreal Engine, for me, is just it's more like a hobby. It's not, for me, it's like not really a work. But I can also make a team and just treat it as a hobby. I think that's the best thing you can do. I don't know. Weapon location. Just see calculate reach distance. Calculate. For the weapon, pick up blend space. All right, so here we get all the system. Yeah, we're gonna have to correct fit. Correct. Here's just save. Save. Save pistol references for later use. And here we're gonna have to check the length. So the length here is going to depend on like how many weapons of the same time of that same type there are in the world. So if you try to print the length of the arrays in here, what this is basically doing is just getting all the available existing weapons in the world that are active, that are not destroyed, and they're going to just like promote it to just promoting it to a variable, to an array, so that in here this node gets the length. So like how many weapons, like what's the number of the items that are in the world. So here when you press F, again, as you can see, you get the number 2 right there. And if you just like spawn another one, we're going to press on play and press on F again. So here you get 3. So that's basically how it works. Like depending on like how many weapons are there in the world, the length is going to be different. The result out of the index value is going to be different. So here you can check, like for example, if you have like if you have more than one, then you can proceed in the code, so that you can proceed to calculation. So that you can proceed to the next code. So here, just going to add a simple check to just make sure that the weapon still exists. At least more than one weapon exists in the world. So you're just gonna do like check if there are at least more than one weapon in the world. Just a simple check. If there is not, then you're just going to print string and cancel the check. I don't know how we can do that. Just cancel the check. Now for canceling the check, we're gonna have to make a event that will cancel the check. Because as soon as we start like identifying a weapon, we run several nodes and several variables, and those variables are filled out with the data. And as soon as you cancel a weapon pickup system logic like this one, you need to reset the values back to 0 or back to their default value or whatever it was before. So to do that, we should, for example, save and cancel set all the variables back that was filled with data and reset them to 0. So to do that, we need to get those variables. I'm going to set up, get all those variables, especially the arrays. Actually, in here we cannot set the pistol. The only way to clear a array is to do it differently. So we're going to get the pistol array and get the pistol and clear that using this node right here. So it removes all the content that is searched for in the previous check. And you're still gonna have to do this anyway, because as soon as you pick up a weapon, it's going to be, it is going to be on the character's hand. So we're gonna have to run other checks later for the pistol itself and check if the pistol is already in the character's hand from the pistol blueprint itself. Tribal Chef said, "Yo, bro, I'm stuck and I need your help. I want to add stamina drain and regain system for when I'm attacking, but I don't know how to do that. How to add stamina drain and regain system when attacking, but I don't know how to." Stamina. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I've never made such system, but I'm gonna need some time to think about it to make a system like this. But it shouldn't be that much difficult to make it. But it's good when you have like a clear reference of like what kind of stamina, what kind of system do you want. Like for example, in GTA San Andreas, you have the stamina system. If the character runs too much, the stamina is going to run down. You could do this with timelines as well. There are a lot of ways to do this, but I think I would use timelines to do this, to do it, and I would have a check to check if the character is still running, or and keep the check running in maybe in the event tick or in the timeline itself, and then put the timeline to reduce the float value that represents the stamina. So here in the custom event, cancel pickup weapon cancelled. So here in this custom event, we do cancel weapon pickup event. And you need to know how to handle the false booleans as well, because sometimes the system doesn't work and you don't really know why it's not working. And maybe like you don't really know what's going on. So here we just created a event that's going to call all those variables to be to default value, and we're just going to have to call that event. So we're just gonna cancel just gonna have a backup if something happens, if something bad happens, we're just ready for it. And we also have the notification, which notifies that the weapon system was cancelled. All right, so I'm gonna have to handle that as well. And cancel this one as well, and this one. No, maybe not this one. Maybe not this one as well. Here you can just do a print string and do weapon wasn't detected. And that's it. All right. We're gonna have to fix that as well when the character we are aiming, and then when you suddenly turn back to the other side, the character still holds the aim pulse. Like this. It's okay for now. Okay. Just gotta do some tests now, some button spam tests. Yeah. Now we need to figure out a way to explain this, and then we're gonna have to make the logic of dropping the weapon, holstering the weapon, and etc. So here's the weapon pickup logic. I'm going to get this to be a little bit more clear. Maybe this color here. Now this one is going to be the drop logic, and this one is going to be the holster. I don't know if that makes sense. The word the word holster weapon. Holster weapon. Does that make sense? Holster. You gotta holster the weapon. So, I think for the drop logic, we can use the same key for now. We can use the same key as soon as we have a good system to. As soon as you. No, I think it's better to add a custom event, because when you're firing 2 times, maybe one is going to fire faster than the other, and that's gonna generate some bugs. That's gonna create some bugs, not generate. Anyways, we're gonna have to make the drop event, and then has pistol 1H. So if the character is already hosting the weapon, I don't know which which weapon we should use for dropping the weapon. So when you press F, you identify and pick up the next weapon. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about it. All right. So I have two ways of doing this. Let's say, for example, let's use Paint to draw this better, because this requires a little bit of planing before you can actually do the code. Otherwise, it's just going to be a waste of time and code. So let's imagine the character is right here, right? And he doesn't have a weapon, and this is the 1K scenario we have. So no weapon. Now here's the pistol. So the character is going to pick up the pistol. Is going to go over here and pick up, do the action, press F, whatever. F to pick up the pistol. So imagine this is the pistol. So now the character has the pistol. Now, what if he finds another weapon in the ground? Then, if the character tries to pick up a weapon, if he already has a weapon, it's not going to work, because we have this boolean here, which is going to tell if the character has the pistol or not. But in here, we're going to have to decide if the character has the pistol in the hand. So that's why I've created a new variable in here. So let's try, yeah, no, we're not using it right now. So I'm just going to copy the name, and I'm just going to call this pistol 1A, has pistol 1H holstered, and has pistol 1H in hand. I think that's going to be a lot better to decide like what we're going to be deciding later. Yeah, I think that's going to be a lot better. So let's go back. So if the character has already the pistol, or even if it's holstered or in the character's hand, we're not going to be able to pick up the next weapon, because the character has already a pistol on his hand. So this is not going to work. But what if the character already has a pistol? Just already has a pistol, but there is a new weapon, and this weapon is a, I don't know, rifle. Let's say this new weapon is a rifle. It's just like that. Right. Now, if he's holding the pistol and he presses F, he can... There are two ways of doing this. He can either pick up the weapon and with his left arm, as he's holding the weapon with, as he's holding the pistol with his right arm, he can pick up the rifle with his left arm, or he could holster the weapon in his pocket and then pick up the rifle and equip the rifle as his primary weapon for shooting. So there are two ways of doing this, and I think this is going to be a decision of like whether or not the in the project's needs, like it's going to depend on the project's needs, but we're gonna have to pick one or the other. Yeah, so I think the best option for this would be if the character finds a new weapon that is not currently the same type that he's currently holding. I think we could, as soon as we press F, we could, if we're holding the pistol on his hand, not holstered yet, he could firstly holster weapon. So as soon as we pick up the rifle, he's firstly going to holster the weapon, and then he's going to play the animation, the other animation, to pick up the rifle and use it as a primary weapon. I think that's the best way to do this. It's going to be a lot more organized. And yeah, let's go for it. So let's go for it then. And this, the same logic is going to work for all the other types of weapons, because we're going to use also, we're going to have to use other types of weapons and objects as well. So I think this is the best way of doing this. And the character is, of course, not going to do this, like, it's not going to be able to do this every time. So I think there is no problem of doing that. So let's see what rifle we have in here. Let's see, on the ALS we have, so we have rifle and pistol two hands, pistol with 2 hands, pistol with 1 hand, bow, torch, binoculars, box. So I guess we're going to use the rifle. So it's the search for the rifle, static mesh, skeletal mesh. Oh, in this case, I'm gonna have to create a new blueprint using this. And then just drag and drop it to the word like that. And we're gonna have to set up its physics as well. So we're going to set up it to be custom. And I think for the weapon, it could have a different type of object, but Yeah, let's set up the M4A1 now. So the object type is going to be the same one as the pistol, which is great. The BoxTrace is going to be able to identify what is hitting. So we're going to be able to use only one single BoxTrace, which is going to be a lot more cleaner. But of course, this is going to make the code to be a little bit more complex because we're going to have to handle and know exactly which reference we're trying to deal with. So here the collision enabled is going to be collision enabled, query in physics. The visibility for the trace is always going to be for true, because otherwise the trace is not going to be detectable. It's not going to be, the box trace is not going to be able to detect, I think. The camera can be ignored, traversable ignored as well, because if you set the camera to be blocked, as soon as you hold the weapon and try to change the camera angle, the camera can glitch. And that's the issue. That's a very annoying issue that most beginners don't know how to fix, and they end up giving up on the engine. It's very annoying, but that's just a matter of like learning how the collisions work in the engine. Simulate physics is always going to be true. Let me just see where it is. Simulate physics. Here it is. It's, I don't know why it's disabled. Why is it disabled? No idea. Let's try to do the same thing. I think it's missing, maybe, oh, it's missing the collision. Oh, okay, it's missing the collision, the physical asset. So we're just going to create a new one. So we're going to right click and go to skeleton. No, go to create physics asset and create an assign. For this type of object here, I'm going to select the box. I think that's gonna make more sense. And create asset. Create asset. All right. Okay, so here I have the weapon, the physical asset. If you want, you can, you can refine this physical asset by, I don't know, let me try to do something here real quick. Add this. Okay. So maybe this could be here. And I think I'm not going to refine it too much because that's not the purpose of the final full project, final game. But just gonna make it simple so that it fits and makes more sense for the, so that the physics, they work right and correctly as expected. There we go. I think that makes more sense for the physical asset. And if you try to simulate, let's try to simulate this. Okay. 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 Yeah, I think we're not gonna need that. Yeah, I'm not gonna need that. Here we have to add a new root, a new shape. Yeah. For the root. So I think this could be it. Something like this could work. Just simulate. Yeah, that's just what I need. Just a basic, just basic collisions, basic physics. Yeah, that works. That's perfect. So that's how you set up the physics for the weapon. Now, as it is assigned, we can go back to the M4A1 and simulate the physics there. As you can see, you have the physics, simulate physics enabled. And if you want, you can also set up the mass. I think the mass scaled. I think the mass is also set up inside the collision here. So we can select. You can select the mass in here if you want to change the mass value. You can also do that. And there you go. Now you have the rifle with oh. What happened? That's not good. Let me see if we can try to set up the mass of it. Should be 100. Physics type to be simulated. A linear damping and angular damping. Let's change those values later to see how it's going to behave now. Let me try to switch, because the character has the mesh, has the mesh, and the collision settings are the object type of the mesh is pawn. We can go back to the M4A1 and go to the skeletal mesh and go to collision settings and ignore the pawn. And if you go back to the capsule component, it is also pawn. But let me see if there is going to be physical interaction. No, there's not, because it's pawn as well. So let's try to get a okay, let's try to get the mesh to be physics body as an object type. And the capsule component is going to remain pawn. And for the M4A1 is we're going to block the pawn and ignore the physics body. We're gonna have to set it up later. No way that it works the best. So yeah, I'm not sure why that's happening, but maybe it's something related to physics. I'm gonna have to check it out later why this is happening. But that's what we got for today. Maybe if I just do this, just delete that one. Yeah, this is a little bit better, but I think the mass is a little bit too much. Maybe 5 kilograms. Could be a good value. Yeah, the pistol, the rifle like runs away from the character, but you know, I think it's better to let it to be. For now, I think it's better to let it to be ignore or overlap from all, so that we can actually pick up the rifle. But the physics are going to be still enabled if you simulate. As you can see, the physics are there. It's just that the character cannot step up on it because the physics are ignored. But that's just okay for now. It doesn't really matter. If you try to switch, get the same collisions for this one, and try to replicate it, let's see if that works. Let's just get the same collision settings for the M4A1 to see if that solves the issue as well. So the object type is going to be WorldDynamic. The collision enable is going to be physics only, and all remains the same, and we're going to just block all of the rest. So, oh yeah, that's a lot better. Okay, now that fixed. The only thing is that you can accidentally, like, if you step on the weapon, you can you can sink the weapon in the ground like this. And sometimes the weapon, like, they go through the floor. And now we can go back and just add a new shape, add a box, and then you can put this box in here to complement the rest of the weapon body. So when you drop the weapon, we need to know what kind of weapon we're dropping. And which key is necessary for dropping the weapon. We could do this in two ways. We could either press the same key as we use for picking up the weapon, or we could use the key G, for example, to only drop the weapon. So that's really up to the project's needs. Okay. And for dropping the weapon, you need to actually hold the weapon. So the weapon actually has to be in your hand for you to be able to drop it. We're going to make a system like that. And we're gonna have to make a comment like this, like to identify which weapon we're currently holding on hands. What kind of weapon are we dropping? Yeah, let's just do key G. for dropping. Now for dropping the weapon, let me just remove this rifle in here, out of the way. When I press F, the character can pick up the weapon. When I press G, nothing happens yet. But what we're gonna wanna do is do the reverse, to do the reverse thing as we do in here. So we're just gonna copy all this and paste it in here for the drop process. And in here we're gonna have to switch because we firstly need to set up the physics first. So we're going to select PhysicsOnly and set simulate physics after we detach the weapon. So detach component. Then we're gonna have to select which component you want to detach. In this case, I think it's this one. And overlay state, set the overlay state back to default. If it's not the skeletal mesh of the pistol reference, it's the mesh. So we're gonna have to check it out and test. Let's see which one it is. Press F, pick up. Press G. Now the weapon can be dropped. If I press F again, I already have the same pistol. Of course, gonna have to when you drop, you have to select the boolean, which is called has pistol 1H in hands. So you're going to just select that and set it to be false after we drop it. And press G, drop it, press F again, weapon wasn't detected. Yeah, in the next live, we're gonna have to fix this issue here. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. I think I'm gonna zip the files and upload it to Mega so that you can keep the most updated version if you want to get this project file here to be able to for you to be able to learn something from this project if you want to. All right, so I'm gonna go now, and I see you next time.